What if the biggest surprise of your life didn't come wrapped in a gift box, but in a hospital blanket? Imagine preparing for one baby, only to discover there were two, or giving birth and realizing that what doctors believed for months was only part of the story. Throughout history, childbirth has delivered not only new life, but astonishing twists that stunned families, physicians, and entire nations. From hidden twins no one detected to births that defied medical expectations. These real stories prove that nature still holds secrets we barely understand. Some of these mothers walked into delivery rooms expecting routine procedures. They walked out as part of history, and one case in the 1990s shattered medical assumptions so dramatically that it became a global headline. Childbirth has always been one of humanity's most powerful and mysterious experiences. For centuries, people believed that science could predict almost everything about pregnancy. Ultrasounds improved, monitoring became precise, technology advanced. And yet, even in modern hospitals, surprises still happen. In this video, we will explore some of the most surprising births in history, cases that left doctors speechless, families overwhelmed, and the world captivated. These are true events that reveal how unpredictable life can be. Stay with me until the end, because the final story involves a birth in the 1990s that broke records and shocked the world with unexpected twins no one saw coming. If you enjoy fascinating real-life stories like this, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who loves unbelievable history. History is filled with moments that changed nations, but some of its most astonishing turning points began quietly inside delivery rooms. Long before modern imaging existed, childbirth carried an aura of mystery and risk. Families prepared for one child and sometimes received two, or even more, without warning. In rural villages and royal palaces alike, hidden twins were occasionally discovered only after the first baby was safely delivered and the room was already celebrating. Midwives throughout the 17th and 18th centuries recorded cases where a second infant emerged unexpectedly, shocking exhausted mothers and stunned attendants. These were not myths, they were documented realities in a time when medicine relied more on experience than technology. Even as medical science advanced in the 19th century, doctors continued to face moments that challenged their confidence. Each surprise birth reminded humanity that despite growing knowledge, the human body still operated according to laws deeper than understanding. In the 1800s, one particularly astonishing case involved a woman in rural Europe whose pregnancy appeared completely ordinary. Physicians examined her repeatedly and confirmed what they believed was a single fetus. When labor began, the first baby was delivered safely, and the room relaxed into relief. Yet the mother's contractions did not stop. What followed was confusion, then urgency, as a second baby was born healthy minutes later. The community viewed the event as miraculous. Medical journals at the time debated how the second child had gone undetected during examinations. Without imaging tools, doctors relied on touch and listening devices that could not always distinguish the heartbeats if positioned closely. Cases like this fueled both scientific curiosity and public fascination. They also highlighted how easily assumptions could be overturned. For families, the surprise meant joy mixed with shock, but for the medical field, it represented a humbling reminder that certainty in childbirth was often an illusion. As the 20th century approached, technological innovation promised to eliminate such surprises. The invention of ultrasound in the mid-1900s transformed prenatal care and created a sense of security. By the 1970s and 1980s, many believed that hidden twins would become a thing of the past. Hospitals in major cities proudly showcased their advanced imaging capabilities, assuring parents that they would know exactly what to expect on delivery day. Yet even with improved tools, the human body proved capable of astonishing concealment. There were rare instances when one twin remained hidden behind the other, positioned in such a way that standard scans missed subtle signs. These cases were exceptionally uncommon, but they continued to occur. Each one reignited public intrigue and sparked debates about the limits of technology. It became clear that progress did not eliminate mystery. It simply narrowed the margins within which the unexpected could still unfold. One of the most bizarre categories of surprising births involved what physicians later called cryptic twins, where one baby developed in a position that masked the presence of the second in several documented cases from the late 20th century. Mothers carried pregnancies to term believing they were expecting a single child. Doctors conducted routine scans, and nothing unusual appeared. But during delivery, after the first baby emerged, persistent contractions signaled something more. Nurses quickly realized that another infant was on the way. These moments were described as surreal by medical staff who had trusted their equipment. Families who had prepared one crib suddenly needed to. Such events underscored the delicate complexity of fetal positioning and the occasional limitations of imaging angles. Though statistically rare, these births gained media attention because they challenged the belief that modern medicine had eliminated unpredictability. They reminded the public that even in sterile, well-lit operating rooms, life could still surprise everyone present. Beyond hidden twins, history records even stranger scenarios that stretched the boundaries of understanding. There were documented instances of superfetation, an extremely rare condition in which a woman conceives while already pregnant, though often debated in scientific circles. A handful of cases suggested that two babies could develop at slightly different stages of gestation. When delivered, their size differences startled physicians and fueled speculation worldwide. Though such events were rare and sometimes controversial, they added to the narrative that childbirth remains one of nature's most complex processes. For families involved, the shock was profound but often accompanied by gratitude. The existence of such cases demonstrated that biology does not always follow predictable timelines. Even with modern tracking, hormonal variations and implantation timing could create extraordinary outcomes. These births blurred the line between medical anomaly and miracle, and they reinforced the idea that human reproduction contains layers of mystery that science continues to explore. In some parts of the world, surprising births were initially interpreted through cultural or spiritual lenses rather than medical explanations. Communities in Africa, Asia, and South America recorded stories of unexpected twins being seen as blessings, omens, or signs of divine intervention. Long before hospitals standardized prenatal monitoring, midwives relied on intuition and physical cues that were not always reliable indicators of multiple pregnancies. When hidden twins were revealed, celebrations often mixed awe with reverence. These cultural responses shaped how societies understood unusual births. Even in modern times, when medical reasoning explains most phenomena, emotional reactions still echo those ancient interpretations. The shock of discovering an unexpected second child carries symbolic weight, representing abundance, destiny, or unforeseen change. Across centuries and continents, the emotional core remains consistent. Surprise births confront expectations and force families to adapt instantly. They transform ordinary days into unforgettable chapters of personal and collective history. By the late 20th century, media coverage amplified the impact of unusual deliveries. Television networks and newspapers eagerly reported cases where mothers discovered hidden twins at birth. Headlines emphasized disbelief and astonishment, framing these stories as medical marvels. Audiences were captivated because such events contradicted the growing trust in technology. The narrative was compelling. In an era of precision, something had slipped through unnoticed. Doctors often explained that certain fetal positions or overlapping heartbeats made detection difficult, especially when equipment quality varied. These explanations reassured the public but did not diminish fascination. Each story reinforced the idea that childbirth, though medically managed, retains an element of unpredictability. For the mothers involved, the experience was intensely personal, yet it became public spectacle. Their private surprise evolved into global conversation, demonstrating how deeply people are drawn to stories where expectation collides with reality. Among the many surprising births documented, some involved not just hidden twins but entire multiples that defied statistical probability. Rare cases of triplets or quadruplets undetected until delivery became part of hospital lore. In smaller clinics with limited imaging capabilities, especially in the early 1990s, such occurrences were more likely. Medical professionals later analyzed these events to refine scanning protocols and improve detection accuracy. Yet even with procedural updates, the possibility of oversight never fully disappeared. What made these stories resonate was not merely the number of babies, but the emotional impact of sudden transformation. A family prepared financially and emotionally for one child found themselves welcoming several. The shock was immediate, but so was adaptation. These births highlighted human resilience and the capacity to embrace unexpected expansion of responsibility and love. They also illustrated how thin the line can be between medical certainty and astonishing revelation. As research progressed, specialists began to categorize the reasons behind missed twin diagnoses. Factors included fetal overlap, maternal body composition, early gestational scans before both embryos were visible, and technical limitations of older machines. Each variable contributed to rare but significant surprises. The medical community responded by increasing training standards and recommending multiple ultrasounds throughout pregnancy. Despite these improvements, physicians acknowledged that no system was entirely infallible. This admission carried both humility and realism. It acknowledged that while science advances rapidly, it operates within biological complexity that cannot always be fully mapped. For expectant parents, this meant balancing trust in medical care with acceptance that childbirth retains unpredictability. These lessons, drawn from decades of surprising births, shaped modern prenatal protocols and informed public understanding of risk and rarity. One particularly memorable case from the early 1990s began, like many others, with a routine prenatal journey. A young mother attended regular checkups, received ultrasound confirmation of a single healthy baby, and prepared accordingly. Her family organized a nursery, purchased clothing, and anticipated a straightforward delivery. When labor began, nothing seemed unusual. The first baby was born healthy, and relief filled the room. Yet moments later, the mother's contractions intensified unexpectedly. Confusion spread among staff as they realized another infant was descending. Within minutes, a second baby entered the world. The hospital team was stunned. Subsequent reviews suggested that the twins had been positioned in such a way that one concealed the other during imaging. News of the birth spread rapidly, igniting widespread discussion about the reliability of prenatal scans. What distinguished this 1990s case from earlier stories was the global attention it received. Media outlets across continents reported on the hidden twin birth, framing it as a modern medical surprise in an era presumed immune to such events. Experts appeared on television explaining how rare the phenomenon was, emphasizing that millions of pregnancies were accurately monitored each year. Nevertheless, the story resonated deeply because it challenged assumptions about certainty. The birth became symbolic of the idea that even in technologically advanced settings, life can unfold unpredictably. For the parents, the shock quickly transformed into joy, but the broader public conversation centered on the remarkable fact that two babies had remained hidden until the final moments of labor. The event earned recognition as one of the most unexpected twin discoveries of its time. Medical journals later reviewed the case, examining imaging records and equipment calibration. Analysts concluded that overlapping fetal positioning and limitations in angle resolution likely contributed to the oversight. Although rare, similar instances had occurred before, but this one gained prominence due to extensive documentation and media coverage. The term hidden twin became widely recognized after this event, entering popular vocabulary. Hospitals used the case as a training example, reminding practitioners to remain vigilant even when scans appear clear. For many professionals, it reinforced the importance of humility in medical practice. No matter how advanced technology becomes, the human body retains intricacies that occasionally defy detection. This understanding did not undermine trust in medicine. Instead, it balanced confidence with caution. Beyond the headlines, the emotional dimension of the 1990s birth carried profound significance. The parents described an overwhelming mixture of disbelief and gratitude, recognizing that their family had doubled in size within moments. Psychologists later noted that surprise births can intensify bonding experiences, as the abrupt expansion of expectation creates heightened emotional imprinting. In this case, what began as shock evolved into a story shared repeatedly over decades. The twins grew up aware that their arrival had once captivated global audiences. Their existence became a living reminder of unpredictability. For observers, the case illustrated how extraordinary events can emerge from ordinary circumstances, reshaping narratives in an instant. The record associated with this 1990s hidden twin birth was not about the number of babies, but about the degree of surprise in a technologically advanced era. While previous centuries had plausible explanations rooted in limited tools, this case unfolded despite modern monitoring. That distinction elevated it into historical discussion. Medical historians referenced it when examining the evolution of prenatal diagnostics, and journalists cited it whenever discussing unexpected medical events. The phrase "shocked the world" was not hyperbole in this context. It reflected genuine astonishment that such a scenario could occur at the brink of the 21st century. The event remains a benchmark for discussions about rare twin detection failures. Looking back across centuries of surprising births, one pattern becomes clear. Human expectation continually confronts biological complexity. Whether in candlelit rooms centuries ago or brightly illuminated operating theaters of the 1990s, childbirth retains an element of mystery. Hidden twins, rare conditions, and astonishing timing differences remind us that life develops according to intricate patterns not always visible on screens. The 1990s record of unexpected twins stands as a modern testament to this truth. It connects past and present, showing that while knowledge expands, humility remains essential. Surprising births are not merely curiosities, they are reminders that certainty has limits and that wonder still belongs in the most clinical spaces. Throughout history, childbirth has balanced science and mystery in equal measure. From centuries-old hidden twins to the shocking record-breaking surprise of the 1990s, these stories reveal something deeper than medical anomaly. They remind us that life refuses to be completely predictable. Technology may guide us, but nature still writes the final chapter. The most surprising births in history are not just unusual events, they are powerful symbols of humility, resilience, and wonder. In a world that seeks certainty, these moments invite us to accept unpredictability as part of the human story. And perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all.